I appreciate you all carving out some time for our first official community of practice for the SWTC Illinois group. I do have a couple of ground rules that I want to go over. We all know this, but it's always good to have a reminder. Is that if you are, first of all, what we're going to ask is we've got a fair amount of participants here. So in order to save bandwidth, if you could turn your cameras off unless you're choosing to speak, that would be helpful because that'll help things move smoother. Also, once we get started, if you would put yourselves on mute again, unless you're planning to speak, obviously. And then for the benefit of the sign language interpreters, before you start speaking, if you could identify yourself so that they can more easily communicate who is actually doing the speaking. Okay. So we do have a pretty robust agenda today that we're really excited about. And so our first agenda item here is going to be a presentation by Robin Lewis on DRS referrals, VR referrals, and case progressions. So without further ado, Robin, you're on.
All right, thank you, Jim. Before we get started, I do want to make this announcement before we get too far along and I forget. If you're interested in taking the second round of ACRE training, that means if you did not already complete ACRE training and you want to complete ACRE training, we're doing a second session coming up soon. So please email me if you are interested, if you missed the first round or didn't complete for some reason. All right, so before we get started into the content, I do want to recognize all of your hard work. January highlights, we have our employment specialist went on a trip to VCU, which sounded a lot of fun and I missed out on it. We have 3 placements since we last met. 34 of you are ACRE certified now, which is wonderful. And our 3rd community research specialist, CRS, Kyle Menke, is on board. So he'll be working with CTF and AID up in the Chicagoland area. Also would like to do a SWTC by the numbers. All of the agencies have engaged participants. We have 45 total participants engaged in the project. 17 have officially become DRS customers. Many of the 45 are in process, which is great. And we have 3 job placements. So you guys are doing fantastic. Every time we get together, I plan to give an update so we can all see the fruits of our labor here on the screen. So I'd also like to remind us every time we get together that the reason we are together and the reason we are part of this project is because we want to make change. We want to change the way things work in the state of Illinois, and we want the work landscape to be better for people with disabilities. So in a book that I have read and referenced many times, Cornelius Minor says, working towards change almost always means that we must abandon ways of doing things and thinking that things are not working. So it's all about a mindset, and we can't do better if we keep doing things exactly the same way. So this is all part of improving our process and improving our system on a grander scale. So that means that we may have to abandon the ways that we have done things, and a positive mindset rather than, gosh, this isn't working. Well, changing that around to how can we make this work better? So I just wanted to kind of set the tone there with that quote. So I appreciate you all listening. Okay, down to the business here. All right, so the Division of Rehabilitation Services. This is the first stop for anybody with a disability in Illinois who wishes to be competitively employed, especially those with developmental disabilities. And if they are already receiving the HCBS waiver, DRS is the first stop. We have to exhaust our services with these folks before we can refer them to any DD services. So individuals with disabilities are presumed to be able to benefit from VR services. Anytime you see a blue line here, text in blue and underlined, that means I've linked it to our rules. So you can click on that and find the rule that governs that premise. I also have linked here how DRS determines eligibility and rehabilitation needs. So that will take you to our rules. At the end of this presentation, I have listed and linked all of our administrative code that governs vocational rehabilitation. So if you ever have a question about how things are working or how things should work, hopefully you could find it there. If not, you can always ask us. All right, so up across the top of the screen here, we have kind of a flow chart that gives an overall view of the referral, the scope of services for DRS. So we start with referral, it then moves to application. We then go to eligibility determination, otherwise known as certifying somebody eligible. Then we go to the employment service level, we initiate services, and then we have a successful closure. So for referral, that can be initiated by anyone, the individual, the family, the ISC, or providers like yourselves. It can be made at the local office, or they can be made online. And in our cases, it would be helpful if the agencies could directly coordinate with their local office or their counselor to alert them that there's a SWTC participant on their way. So we have 30 days to move from referral to application. During that time period, we're doing the initial interview, collecting documents, determining, and then at the application period, determining that eligibility, getting all of our documents in order. So this application has to take place within 30 days of referral. Okay, so one thing that we noticed was that as a group and really statewide, everybody kind of has their own way of sending in a referral. So what we would like to share is documentation that is essential to kind of keep the process going and to expedite things so that we don't have to take those full 30 days if we don't need to. So there is a DRS referral form. Now, typically this form that we have here is one that our counselors use to refer a customer to an agency. However, that same form could be used in reverse. If the individual has a guardian, we must gain consent from that guardian to work with their child. Proof of disability is not necessarily needed right when you send in the referral, but it will certainly help expedite the referral. If you don't have it, that cannot be a reason for us to slow down or impede the process. Then we have authorization for disclosure of information or release of information form. I'm going to make all of these forms available to you right now. If you're a DRS counselor, you'll be able to click on the link, but I realize that all of these forms are on our intranet, which would not be available to the agents outside folks. So I'm going to work to get these together for you all and send them as an attachment. So the more information you can send at referral in with the referral is going to be helpful and help us move the case along a little more quickly. So additional information that we need either before or at the initial interview, education history, documentation of functional limitations. So that could be maybe your own form that you might have. If you have a student and they have an IEP, then those limitations should be listed on their IEP. Household income, health insurance, work history, any additional release of information forms. If we need to contact anybody to gain information regarding the customer, let's say you don't have the proof of disability that you need and we need to reach out to the doctors, then we would need an additional release signed for each and every person that we need to contact to get information from. There will also be a SWTC Illinois release of information and an agreement to participate. So again, for those of you who've been on a call with me recently, you know that the only thing impeding that step of the process is our data sharing agreement. We're waiting for that to get approved through our legal department. Once that's approved, then I'll be sending out a SWTC release of information and agreement to participate. And all of those 34 that we have engaged will need to get that filled out for us. All right, I'm going to move on to the next step here. All right, so eligibility determination. We want to complete this as soon as possible, but we have to complete it within 60 days of the application. So there's, again, a couple of presumptions here that we are making is that a person is going to be able to benefit from VR services. And really, the individual must want to go to work. If they want to go to work, then we should certainly be helping them achieve that goal. So there are some possible determinations that can occur here at the eligibility determination stage. We can determine the customer is ineligible if they refuse services or decide that they don't want services any longer. Step number 2, unsure if the customer will benefit from vocational rehabilitation. Really, this should be a very rare occasion. And if we are unsure, then we will be referring customers to do a trial work experience, which I'll talk about here in a second. Or we find them eligible and then and they want services, so then the case then moves forward to plan. If we're unsure if a customer can benefit from VR services, we can have them complete a trial work period. So a closing a case due to a customer's disability being too significant from them to benefit from services, that cannot be made unless a trial work period is initiated. And really, and as a result of the trial work, there has to be clear and convincing evidence that the individual is incapable from benefiting from VR services. So recently we put out a statement saying that, you know, trial work should not necessarily be used as an exclusionary tool for services. We want to make sure that if a customer is interested, that we certainly help them, do everything that we can to help them go to work. If you end up in a situation where you feel the customer is too or unable to benefit from VR services, then we have to shift that case over to our bureau chief before we can close a case for that reason. All right. So assuming that your customer is eligible for services, then we send them over to develop a plan for employment with their VR counselor. In the plan for employment, we list the employment goal, the scope of services, timeframes that the services will be provided, who will be the provider, responsibilities of the counselor, customer, and guardian, and a time frame. We have to get this done within 90 days of determining eligibility. Hopefully we could get that done quicker, but there's lots of situations that can occur. All right, so when we're looking at services, we have our routine services, counseling and guidance, information and referral. We have some placement services, that is direct employment, where the VR counselor direct places somebody who's ready to work and connects them with the job in the community. We have some assisted placement where our business development unit can help with that. But primarily the folks that we're talking about here on today are going to be in our contract services, either placement under Milestone, supported employment, or customized employment. We also have training and transition services. We have our STEP services that occur in the high schools, post-secondary education, on-the-job training, and we have mobility training. We also have restorative services, mental restoration, and physical restoration. Okay, so once we have completed services or engaged in services, how do we know if a customer is ready to be a successful closure? So the applicant achieves stability in employment, in competitive integrated employment. The customer is happy in the job. The employer is satisfied with the customer's work performance. There are no other DRS services that are needed, and there's nothing to indicate that employment will end. For Milestone, they have to be employed a minimum of 90 days. There's different requirements for supported employment and customized employment. Employment is consistent with their interest, abilities, and capabilities. The services listed in their individualized plan for employment have been provided. And a time frame for this, as long as it takes to complete the employment outcome. So we cannot put a firm stop time on our services. All right, so have there been any questions? I see two things in the chat. Let's see. Oh, maybe it's just to me. Okay. Does anyone have a question? Yeah. Could you state your name, because I can't see who's talking?
Yes. My name is Anna Armeanu from the Downers Grove office.
Yes.
And I didn't see that we needed to send a notification of services. You know, when the IP is done, we also need to send a notification of services to the CRP, to the community rehabilitation provider. So that was just my observation, that I didn't see that on the graph.
In regards, so between between initiate services or between plan and initiate services, it should go right in there.
Right.
Okay, yes, thank you for that. You are correct. I did not include that in the slide, but a notification of services does occur between when a customer decides to or picks an agency that they want to work with, then the counselors provide that. Thank you. Okay, so this is your time to ask your questions about the DRS referral process. We have all of the DRS folks here on the call. I would like to point out that I'll give some kudos here to AID. They have a very comprehensive intake packet that really covers all of the bases here that we were just talking about as far as what information needs to be included in order to expedite the referral process. So when I heard that the packet was 20 plus pages long, my eyes got really big because I felt like, wow, that's a lot of work for one customer. However, from what I hear and understand, there's rarely anything additional that a counselor needs to capture. So that really is helpful, and I'm hoping that Nikki will give me permission to share their packet, especially the functional limitations pages. I think that those are super helpful. So we can chat, Nikki, later about that. But I was really impressed with the first of all that it's a fillable form, which is great. You can just type into there, and it's very comprehensive. So kudos to AID on that. All right, I know you all have questions. Don't be shy.
Hi, this is Brandy from Kreider. So I don't think I have any questions, just another observation that just going through our first few people, it seems simple by your slides here, but it's actually, there's a lot more to it. It seems like the back and forths and the setting up the initial interview as opposed to the first staffing and things like that. So a huge thanks to our DRS counselor for being so helpful with us in this process, because this is something new for us.
Thank you for that, Brandy. And yeah, I mean, everything looks super easy on paper, doesn't it? So nothing is ever as easy as it seems around here. That's my motto. I really wish that it was as easy as it seems. But the more documentation, the nuts and bolts of this is the more information you can provide about your referral, particularly as it pertains to their disability, their diagnosis, their functional limitations. The more documentation you can provide, the better. Oh, I see, Nick. That's fine. Okay.
This is Jim. Robin, do you want to take the chat, or do you
I'm looking at it now.
Okay,
I'm
great.
looking at it right now. Okay. So Frank says before certification, we require a doctor's note stating the individual can or cannot work, and if they can work, with what limitations.
Disability. What, the doctor's note?
Yeah.
Okay.
It can be a statement or like Jasmine stuff over there. She got.
This is Jim. If you could mute whoever's speaking, if you could mute, please. Thank you. Thanks.
All right.
Robin,
Does
you want to take
anybody
that one?
Which one here? Let's see. Oh,
Frank's comment.
oh, I just did. I just read it. About requiring a doctor's note.
Okay.
Is that consistent with with the other offices and counselors across the board?
I guess I would add, this is Jim, I guess I would ask what would be the value to that? What would be what I'm not 100% clear as to why that would be necessary, particularly if the customer is coming to us and for some assistance in finding employment.
So, hello, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
This is Dee
Yes.
Dee. The only time I would want a doctor's note as far as a release, it's like I've had a couple of individuals that were in PT, physical therapy, basically, and they were not released yet, and or they said they were released, but once I requested the note from PR, from PT, as well as any limitations, I learned that they had not been released. So I couldn't work with them at that point because they were still under doctor's care. Once they were released and we got that information, then we moved forward.
Okay. Do we have any ABCs on here who could help with saying if that's although the information is helpful, is it a requirement to have the doctor's note to say if they can or cannot work?
Can you hear me?
I hear you, Frank. Yeah.
All right. Well, in my office, it's a requirement, I guess, because we don't want to set our customers up for failure, or to make sure that they're informed of everything that's going on, and that it could possibly in the future affect their Social Security or disability. And to make sure we understand what their limitations are by having the doctors by having a note from the doctor stating what their limitations would be.
I could see where the statement of the limitations, I could see where that would be helpful. So thank you, Frank, for sharing. Okay, Arthur's asking, what is the difference between how we will work with DRS customers versus participants? Well, all SWTC Illinois participants are also DRS customers. So it would be one and the same. So really there should not be any difference. However you work with your DRS customer is exactly how you would work with our SWTC Illinois participants, because they are DRS customers.
Oh, well, hey, Robin, I was referring to the one chart and the slide that showed that there was one column with DRS customers, and then there was another column with SWTC participants.
So those are
distinction.
Okay. No, thank you for that. Yeah. So in the chart, those are people that we have identified as folks that we want to participate. They just are not official DRS customers as of yet, but they are well on their way to becoming DRS customers. All right, thanks. Do we have any other questions? And with a show of hands, I'm just curious if you all would find it helpful for us to put together kind of a standardized packet, or a packet with all of the forms that I was talking about. If something like that would be helpful. I saw at least one hand. Good. Okay, well, we'll see what we can do to kind of put something together. I think it would be nice, especially with SWTC customers. There are a couple of things that will be required for that, for their participation. So we'll see about putting together a packet. All right. Good.
Hey, Robin, it's Aletha.
Hi, Aletha.
Hey there. First of all, great job.
Ooh.
Just a lot of really good content to go over. I wanted to respond to Paul's comment. I think Pablo, I think it was. I think he was referring to the difference being, I think the point is that they have not been certified yet, Paul.
I think that was Arthur.
Oh, Arthur, I'm sorry. So they've not been certified as VR customers, but there is an assumption of certification of eligibility. So that may have been the distinction. I'm not sure if that helps.
Well, thank you, Aletha. That does clarify some things. Thank you.
Okay, if that helps. And Robin, I think the packet of the forms would be helpful. Anything that we can do to standardize and to make things more consistent across the board, I think is a good idea.
Thank you. And thank you, Anna, for putting the functional limitation report in and the form number in for us. So I appreciate that. I will take a look at that.
And this is Jim. Erica, do you have an additional question, or is there your hand still raised from wanting the Robin's request?
It was for Robin's request.
Okay,
Oh,
cool.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move right along here. I've lost the. Okay, I think we're good. It's 2:30. Let's keep it moving here. So what we would like each time we get together is for somebody at your agency to report what's going well, what is just going just kind of okay, and if there's anything that's not going well. So the intent behind this is for us to just do some sharing, let folks know how it's going for you. And then so when we get into a discussion period here in a little bit, we can maybe offer some tips and ideas to help you problem solve some things that might just be going okay or not going well. And then maybe we might steal some of your ideas of things that are going well. So, all right. If I'll just go in ABC order, if everybody is okay with that. Next time I'll go backwards so that AID doesn't always have to be first. So let's start with AID. What can you tell us?
Good
How's it
morning.
going?
Oh, perfect. My name's Nikki Ondiak. I think Tara's on the line, so she'll be able to give a direct update in regards to AID.
I am Chairman Sherry Ryan.
Tara, would you be able to give an update from your side in regards to the clients and stuff? I guess not. Okay, this is Nikki. We recently sent out 6 referrals to DRS. So we are in the process of opening up the 6 adult referrals currently this week. And then we are hoping to send out the last 2 adult referrals by the end of the month. And then we received 2 youth referrals. So we're currently working with a total of 10 clients, with 8 of them opened up to DRS. Tara's just texted me, her computer froze, so she's unable to talk. What's not going well, we recently lost one of our employment specialists that we spoke about during the Virginia trip. Luckily, we were able to get a new employment specialist hired. Unfortunately, they won't be able to be placed into our department because they're an internal transfer until March. So hopefully we'll be able to get that organized as soon as possible. And then we are in the process of planning a career expo at the end of the month.
This is Mike with the Division of Rehab in Downers Grove. And I've been working with Nikki and Tara and my coworker Anna. And I think that whole process has been going pretty smooth. Nikki providing us with the records we need and referral sheets so we could get the process going. I really look forward to working with AID and Nikki and Tara and the rest of the employment specialists.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Okay, let's go to, does anybody have any questions for AID first before we move on?
Oh my God.
Ooh. Okay, let's go to Centerstone.
Okay, this is James Harris, Vocational Services Coordinator with Centerstone. What's going well? Our doors referrals has seemed to be transitioning a lot smoother here lately. We've got several doors referrals here within the last 4 or 5 months or so, thanks to Frank and Sarah and Amanda and all of them for their work getting us those. What's going okay? We did have our full staff, but I had one of my employment specialists, which isn't associated with the SWITC project, who transferred to our rehab department in the building, which left me short on a person to cover some of the people that are working. So that's been a joy to try to get that filled. I did have somebody that bid on the position, but kind of like with the other one, we
Call and see.
it's an internal transfer, so we have to wait for them to get released from their other department before they come in here. So we're just waiting to get that going. What's not going well? Still the biggest hurdle that we have here is transportation. We are getting classrooms and stuff set up to try to start having more training with our guys in-house, but the transportation thing is the biggest. We have some things that are starting to ramp up for the spring that are potential jobs for our SWITC participants. And our biggest hurdle is, how are we going to get them back and forth? If we can get them back and forth to the interviews and get them the employment, then how are we going to get them back and forth to jobs when sometimes those jobs run past, say, 9 or 9:30 when the public transportation around here stops, or that public transportation may not start running until 7 in the morning, and they may need to be there earlier than that. So that's just kind of a bang our head against the wall, and I'm sure everybody's probably got a similar story with that. We've spoke to a lot of people about trying to get some kind of extra funding from the government to try to fund more public transits, not just here, but just across the state, to try to give them more money to either add more routes, add later routes and stuff to try to accommodate our people, or to make it so that an agency could possibly have their own transportation division, but to help fund that, because we all know we can't afford to go out and buy buses, vans, provide staff to do all that without getting some kind of help from the state. So that's our biggest not going well, but overall everything's going pretty smooth, I think. That's all I have.
Great. Thank you, James. Okay, let's hear from CTF. How's it going?
Hi, this is Teresa. I think things continue to go well here. We have identified, we've already sent through doors 4 individuals, 1 person being ineligible because they wanted to do school instead of working in the community. We have identified another 5 individuals who will be finished with their referral information and sent to our DRS counselor by the end of this month. We're excited about that. We've started our career exploration, yes. And that went well. 2 of our clients who are already eligible and going through doors, they went to the mall today and got to see other occupations that they had in the mall outside of what their skill level is, but also trying to maintain the client centered, that this is what they prefer to do, but wanting them to understand there are other things to do. We also will be meeting with Kyle. This week he's coming out to our program to see our program and see how we can get more individuals to be open to our program. So definitely coming from the schools and the transition programs. And we have finished our one of our marketing materials to get out to individuals. We've identified different places in the community that we would like to post, as well as we've gotten one offer for a church bulletin, to put it in a church bulletin. So if there are any individuals that don't know about the service, or just want to see, what we offer, we have that going into the bulletin, so they can give us a call, and hopefully they will be a referral to DRS and want to participate either in our 14C program or switching. Nothing's not really going too well. I think we're in a good race right now, getting all the different areas that we need to connect to. So community, the individuals that want to work, and getting the situationals together so they can see different programs, definitely stepping outside of their skill area just to see what we can find. And the community employers, we are ready to, I guess I'm going to say, pounce on it. We've got some good understanding from Jennifer how to get into different companies, and we have a plan, and we're ready to, we're actually starting next week with just having whole days of just being in the community and going into different companies.
Thank you for that, Teresa. I'm wondering if we could get a copy of, and you may have already shared with your team, your consultants, and your liaison, but I think it would be helpful if we could all see what each other is using for marketing materials.
Okay.
Just so that, you might have a great idea and other people might want to use it. So that's what we're all about, right?
Yep.
Beg, borrow, and steal. So that's what we're going to do.
So who would I send this marketing material to? Someone in our individual team?
I would say that you could send it to Kyle.
Okay.
And then he'll make sure that we all get it.
Okay, sounds good.
Awesome. Thank you for the update.
Thank
you. I lost track on my list. Who would be HSS? You're next.
Sure, I'll go first. Hi, I'm Jesse Crook with HSS. One of the employment specialists. So I have 3 clients right now on my list. One of them I've been working with pretty much only right now. I've gathered some information and have things set up for the 2 others, and then I'll have a 4th one, of course, added later. This particular client I'm working with, we're in the middle of discovery. I'm probably a good 20 hours, I don't know, 15, if you add all the work that just compiling the info later. I've been to school with him. He goes to college, so I'm actually going to go for a second time tomorrow and observe him in class. I've had some communication with his teacher. There's been some obstacles, so of course I'm Switzy and I'm doing the discovery, but I've been able to pass on information for him to get help with that. So that's been good. I was able to kind of sidestep getting involved with the hours of it, but also show that there's kind of an issue and it will be addressed. So that's been going great. I have a lot of information to still compile together. I have some ideas. The business stuff I haven't reached out officially, but I've been keeping my eyes out as I am out and about. We don't have an actual brochure or anything quite yet. From what I understand, we're still working on what that would look like. But yeah, I mean, it's all making sense. It's coming together. lots of the paperwork stuff I've shared with my team that it's not easy. It's new to me, so I've been working through that. And yeah, that's pretty much my update.
All right, thank you. Kreider Services.
Hi, Brandy from Kreider. What's going well is we have our first placement. Woot woot. Pablo is to thank for that. He found Willie a job first day we got back from Richmond, so that was pretty exciting. I'll skip the okay to the not going so well. What wasn't going so well was my confusion of the steps and the order of which things should be done. So meetings being set up, things weren't aligning because I was just confused about when things should happen. But that is now okay. So it's going okay because we have 3 people set up for their phase 1 meetings next Wednesday. And we have Willie's phase 2 and 3 staffing scheduled for the 20th. Besides that, just balancing everything, trying to figure out who needs what done and when. So the organizational part of it, which is not going bad, it's going okay. And then tomorrow, Tina and I are going to the Dixon High School for our very first IEP. And I was just thinking I needed marketing materials. So whatever Teresa has would be great to see because I don't have anything to take with me to give them besides a business card. And I was going to take our employment handbook to maybe just go over some things. But I think overwhelming them with a bunch of paperwork or a packet might be too much. So I'm just gonna go in and kind of go over what we do. It wouldn't be something that we'd start right away, but just the initial meeting with the person who I'm guessing is going to be aging out soon. I think that's all that I have to share.
Janelle, is the one pager posted on our website? I know that. Okay.
Yes, they are, and there should be copies in the teams and the files and each of the private channels.
I do have the brochure and things that you guys gave us, so I do have that set aside to bring with me. But other than that, I don't have anything agency specific on our program itself. But I do have that, and I do plan to bring that.
Okay, wonderful. So Brandy, I do have a follow-up question for you. You said that that you were confused with the steps and the timing of when things should happen. So how did you all get that sorted out? Did you, well, I'm wondering if there is some sort of something written that maybe we could share. What helped you figure that out?
Actually it was Pablo jumping steps, jumping phases. So that is when I realized, oh crap, we should have already scheduled their first staffing. So I didn't realize the first staffing was separate from the phase 1 staffing. I thought it was kind of the same thing, and we got the NOS and was good to go, but I didn't realize that there needed to be a meeting in between the 2. So Pablo jumping steps then got me into gear, and we fast tracked to make sure that our individual who got a job could still start on time. We just kind of wiggled things, and thankfully Louise was able to squeeze us in and get us on the right track. So then we went ahead and scheduled for the next 3 people so that we didn't do that again. So we are trying to be more organized with that.
Can you think of anything that would be a good tool that we could create to help folks who may be confused about the phases?
If everyone else, it seemed like had a DRS contract already before all this, so I don't know that they are having the same issues as me.
So I'm sorry to interrupt, but we will have new people. We will have new contracts in DRS as a whole. And remember that we're trying to make things better as a system. So as we're thinking about what people can learn from this project later on, what tool can we put together to make it not confusing for people who've never had a contract before?
So maybe just making it clear that the DRS's initial interview with the person isn't your first staffing. So I don't know if maybe I just didn't put the pieces together, but maybe maybe a timeline, because I know the 8-week schedule is generally the rule. But maybe more of a timeline of, okay, so I've been told a couple of times it has to be, the first meeting should be scheduled within the first month, but that wasn't clicking in my brain that it needed to be the first staffing, and you need to have their IPP and all the plan in place before you schedule that first meeting, and then your first staffing is after that. Like that middle meeting, the IPP, the initial first IPP meeting was the one that I was confused about. So maybe just having a timeline on and a clearer name for, and that the name is something that we are both on the same page about, because what you guys may call a staffing is different from what I think of when I hear staffing.
All right. And
Makes sense.
no, yeah, totally does. So Nikki put a cheat sheet in the chat. So thank you. I'm not able to see it because I've got too many things open here and I don't want to screw up my slideshow presentation, but I will look at that soon. Letha, you have your hand raised.
Yes, thanks. This is Aletha speaking. So Robin, would not SWTC customers and agencies that are involved in SWTC not have the same privileges to being trained by our project officers that are involved with our contracts in the agencies that have contracts to be, trained with them, as well as the VR counselor liaison when they get contracts, because that is generally the process?
I mean, sure, yeah, they would be open to that. I know that they do the annual training.
And at any time else as well, excuse me, but at any time that they have questions about the contracts.
Yeah, I won't speak for Kristen, but I'm pretty sure that yes, I hear you. And if you all ever have any questions about how that works, I'm sure she would be definitely happy to meet with you all. And really, yeah, your contract advisor should be able to help you as well.
I'm sorry, yes, contract advisor, there's a different name now. Showing my age. Thank you.
No, that's good. Okay, any questions or anything to add there? All right, we'll move on to the workshop then.
Hi, this is
Hello.
Cindy and Kathy. So what's going well? We have 3 people who are working right now in a job that they really wanted, a placement they really wanted, and they're in phase 4, all 3 of them, and things are going really well. So that's super exciting. We were just chatting about how our work with DRS has been really awesome, and Luis and Nathan have been just really great resources and supporting us a lot along the way, which has been great. What's going okay? We're hoping for an amendment and looking forward to hearing about that, because another thing that's going well is we have people that we're having to hold off right now on opening because we don't have enough slots in our contract. So that's a good problem to have. But it'll be a relief if the amendment goes through.
Yeah. It's supposed to be in March, so hopefully soon, but we're still meeting with the people and doing job development with them, just to kind of get them to the next step. So realizing, going into tours and what is their, goal, what do they want to do, but.
Yeah, and doing a lot of discovery and situational assessments and things like that. We actually reached out, well, Cindy has some awesome experience to share just after the trip, because we've reached out to 2 hospitals and one of them would like to meet with us next week. So that's going to really tie into what what, you know, everybody just experienced out in Virginia. So we're excited about possibilities there. It's actually a hospital in Iowa, but the transit, since we're up in the northwest corner, transit will bring people to work in Dubuque, which is about, you know, which is not far from Joe Davis County. So that's an exciting possibility for placements for people who'd like to be in that environment. Anything else?
Our networking's been going really, really well. Our partnerships with different businesses has been great. We have a group coming in at the end of the month with 26 individuals that we're going to talk about the program with. So that will get the word out. We're going to speak at our local Rotary in May. So, yeah, it's the networking's been great. Our people has been great. Lots of interest in individuals, which is awesome. We just need that amendment.
I lost my toolbar for a second.
Okay.
Okay.
No, we're waiting for you to fill the dead space. Keep talking, girl. Keep talking.
Okay.
Now, does anybody have any questions for the workshop? All right. Well, we're going to go to the.
Yeah, hey, Robin, actually, this is Arthur. I had a question. You guys had a placement, right?
We have 3 placements right now
3.
through SWITC. Yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's super exciting.
Yeah.
So when you say placements, do you mean that they're working?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yeah,
they are.
3 people are actually in phase 4. So they were all hired and started working in January and have been working at least, gosh, well, I guess most of the month in January. So yeah, so it's really nice.
So where are they working? What kind of places are they?
So one person is working at Signcraft, which is a screen printing business, and they do some other things. They make actually one of their biggest contracts is with John Deere. So there are a lot of John Deere decals that we see go across Charlie's desk. The other person is at Culver's, and that was their first choice. So this person really wanted to be at Culver's and is there working. And then
an individual on my caseload, because Kathy and I have separate caseloads, he got his dream job, which he just loves, and it's at Blum Brothers Distillery here in Galena.
Oh, I should come. Let's go visit.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Hey, yeah.
So of the people who are working, could you just describe what some of their tasks are? So at the sign.
You want to go? Oh, at Signcraft?
Yeah. Well, at any of them, I'd like to know if they've made any special accommodations or if it's just a standard job that's open to anybody else, or if they had to do some or if you had to do some job carving or something along those lines. So tell us a little more.
Yeah, so at Signcraft, the position is final inspector, and really for the most part, this individual is doing all of the typical duties. Really, I don't think there's anything that has been like job carved or customized necessarily, but the accommodations are coming into play because there's this person communicates using sign language and written communication, and there's a chat board app. So the work has really been supporting her coworkers and communicating with this individual on the job site. And then so yeah, communication has been probably the biggest challenge, and a lot of accommodations around that. But they've been just amazing. Like the team out there has been just super supportive and really doing all these things that I just never imagined, just to make this individual feel welcome and a true part of the work community out there. So it's been pretty awesome. Do you want to talk about what's going on with Quinn?
With Quinn, he is learning all aspects of a distillery. So He really needs to listen, and that's where, you know, we meet in the morning before he goes, just to make sure that he's all dressed nice and neat and has his uniform on and it's clean, and then up at his job, it's like 6, 7 steps. So we have them all down where if he has to have a cheat sheet, he can have one. If he knows, but he works with a group that is very supportive. They're so, you know, if he has a question, they're there for him. I can't stress enough on the support he does get there with his team. So,
And so for that customer, is he just filling a regular position that's open to anyone, or did you have to do some carving, or?
With Quinn, just the steps, you know, knowing what the steps are. Like he learned a new job today, which then I'm going to abbreviate for him. He had to, it's called swelling, and they have to swell the barrels before they fill them in.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to make a step chart for him for that. So he remembers how exactly to do it.
Okay.
And then for clocking in, because this is his first really job out in the community, we did do a chart how to clock in, you know, what buttons, because they have to go to a register, hit the, you know, exact buttons, what his number is, and then to do that, to check in and to clock out. So just making charts, basically making charts.
And then with the individual at Culver's, they've just been really supportive and are kind of allowing this individual to choose. So their position is crew member. So they're in the front of the house. So there are a lot of tasks that they could be doing, but they're just giving this person the choice to do the tasks that they're comfortable with, and then just kind of build on that as we go along. So right now they're delivering food and cleaning the tables and vacuuming and doing some refilling, this and that. And then they'll, as this person gets more and more comfortable, they're gonna, you know, keep training into different responsibilities. So I guess that's kind of customized, you know, or job carving a little bit.
Were there any functional limitations that you had to accommodate for
any
of them, actually? Like I'm interested in hearing what you did for your person who communicates with sign language, primarily, and then any of the other customers.
Yeah, no, that person also uses a wheelchair. So we've just had a lot of conversations and just adjustments of, you know, to make it easier just to get around the building. So like right now, for example, there's a restroom that nobody else is allowed to use, but they're allowing this person to use it because it's easier to access, and people are, there isn't one of those buttons that you push to open the door. So on the way out, it gets a little tricky. So there are a few people on a backup list to make sure that this person is getting in and out of the door when they come and go. We ordered a tray that attaches to the wheelchair. So when they go to and from the break room, this individual can carry food, and she wants to be super independent. So we're just trying to find out, you know, any possible moment in the day that where she needs support, and figure out how to you know, do whatever, adjust the environment or add something, you know, to offer that independence. So and then technology wise, there are a few apps. Actually, she's been doing the training with this because there are a few apps that she's been sharing with her coworkers where you can do like speech to text, or there's a hand talk app where you can type in a word and it'll show you the sign. So just a lot of technology just to, you know, bridge the communication gaps, and oh my gosh, all sorts of things. But everything's going well. So yeah.
Well, thank you, ladies, for sharing. We have a few minutes. really want to do kind of open the floor for anyone else want to share your success story. I know we had a picture of Willie. If anybody wants to talk about him from Kreider, about working at the rec center, and similar to how Kathy and Cindy were just sharing about their customers. And then if there is anybody else, I think CTF may have somebody working. So if you could share some insight into that process, like what is the disability of the person, maybe their limitations, what if you had to do some job carving, or if they're just filling a regular position, or what kind of accommodations have you had to make for the customer. I think that type of insight would be really helpful for others here on the call. So is anybody willing to share about a customer that they're working with?
Hi, this is Teresa.
Oh, go ahead, Teresa.
This is from, I'm from CTF, Illinois, and our gentleman that is working is doing really well. He was in a regular position that was posted. They did do some job carving for him. Our transportation here is at limited times, and so they were able to take his schedule and maintain it in the day so that he would be eligible to get back and forth on pace. He went in for a specific position, but they also kind of use him where needed as it relates to, he's a dishwasher, and they use him as a busser. And then any other position that they feel he's able to accommodate them, he has done well with whoever in the restaurant is working with him. One of the things that they would not allow was us to be on site with him to do any job coaching. So he meets with his employment specialist weekly. We had to make sure that he had all the things he needed and able to travel. So he didn't have a coat, and it was below 0 here. So we made sure that we took him and made sure he had all the outerwear that he needed to get back and forth. So, you know, that was not a reason why he called off. Our doors counselor included voucher for uniforms, and he was able to do that, plus get the work shoes that he needed. They did allow our employment specialist to go into orientation with him, where we were able to assist him with his technical part of his hiring process. So they use an app, and we had to teach him how to use the app. They have also changed the app since he's been employed about 50 days ago. And so he's been able to get in and out of there for his schedule. He has a pay card that he uses in order to get his paycheck. And so he has worked with us to understand the pay card, how to use it to make sure that he gets his paycheck stubs and that he stays within his hours so that his benefits are not messed up. One of the things that we did is we also looked through some of the forms that were given to us by our team, and they from Virginia, and they had a form which was a functioning assessment. Let me make sure I got the right functioning job. I'm sorry, it's called a survey of job performance that they had. We've actually taken that and used it in order to ask any individual that works with him, who partners with him as far as showing him what to do in the positions. We've also mailed one to the hiring manager because that person has now moved on from that particular store to another store. And so just trying to gather as much information as we can from different people who are working with this gentleman to make sure that there's nothing that he's missing or that he needs extra support on. In his app, there is some documents that say they're supposed to tell you if they need anything or if he's not meeting his requirements, and there has been nothing. So we are very proud of him. He has continued to do well. He meets here with us regularly. He's very happy. The biggest thing we're working on him with outside of that is his ability to budget, to ensure that he has the proper funds to get back and forth to work, whether it be a ticket voucher from Pace and or if there's an emergency and he has to take Uber, because his natural supports are very limited. And in addition, teaching him his Pace card has another form of transportation. It's a Ventra like debit card. We're trying to work with him for him to understand that, so he doesn't have any reason to say, I can't get to work. And of course, as a last resort, the job coach, our employment specialist, will pick him up and drop him off. So we've been working really hard with him to not just do what's required of him at the position, but to definitely be able to retain after his 90 milestone is up. So we're getting ready to meet with our doors counselor to do his staffing. It should be really nothing as a surprise, but he's doing really great. So we're proud of that. And the other two gentlemen, we are working really hard with them. Of course, going into the community and looking for jobs. We still have some resistance, but we're determined that we're going to find the position that they like. They have been getting interviews. I think those gentlemen have had about 4 to 5 interviews each. And not that they're not doing good at the interviewing process, but again, educating the employer on working with an individual who may need some accommodations. If I have anything else, Quintina, if you want to add anything else to it, please feel free. But I think I covered everything that we've talked about.
Yes, I think we pretty much covered the basis. Just like today, we went to the mall and they looked, to see different, like whether you're working at a fast food place at the mall, we got a chance to speak with some of the hiring managers at like JCPenney's and like the mall, like cleaning people, that's in charge of that. So, they just got to, get a feel of it and things like that. And they asked some questions and they did really well. And just like, okay, well, they already knew off bat that they didn't want to work like 2:30 to 11 because it was like barriers for them to like be picked up at night and things like that. So they, they trying to understand like, okay, you just can't work Monday through Friday because we need you maybe like on the weekends as well. And like later than normal time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Hey, Robin, this is Jen McDonough from
Hi,
Virginia.
Jen. Yeah.
As Teresa was talking and some of the other folks were talking, it clicked in my head regarding, because I think Teresa said I don't know what it was that she said that made me think of it, but with those individuals who are receiving either SSI or SSDI, they need to report their earnings to Social Security monthly, or else it's going to cause an overpayment potentially of their benefits. And so I know that Aletha and somebody else went through some initial training with Sandy, but Kyle wasn't in on that. So I just wanted to make sure that maybe y'all got that information out to all of the projects regarding, providing some either support or I don't know how y'all are going to handle that, but making sure that those individuals finding employment need to report that back to Social Security.
I'm just going to add in, Jennifer, this is Teresa again. I know as we were going through the ACRE training, there's a whole module about the earned income and how it affects the your wages and things. And one of the things we did, and I don't know if it's still if the person is still there, but we definitely our goal is to have, because that information is new, is down the line, to have an open house here where the people that are here working in our 14C who are very eligible to come into the DOORS program, and even community people, to have an information session that will be free There used to be, and I don't know if he's still the person, his name was Ron Mulvaney, who would come out and explain all of that to anybody that, wanted to hear the information, because in the beginning, that was one of our barriers, that people who had guardians and parents were like, nope, don't want to mess up. Took me too long to get the payment, and they didn't want to mess it up. So better hearing it from someone who was affiliated with Department of Human Service.
Right, and this is Jim. So, one of the things, like to kind of pigtail off of what Jennifer was saying, is that what we're establishing within the project here is to obtain some certification for Kyle and for Aletha and for Sharon, so that they can be serving as kind of a bridge between the customer and the actual WIPA representative or Social Security, to ensure that the customers are and their families are armed with good information about benefits and how work is going to impact that. So that's a resource that we're continuing to develop here internally. They've both gone to, like Jen said, to a boot camp. They're scheduled for 2 more training sessions here over the next couple of months, so that the hope is that by the spring they will be up and going and be certified in the planning and benefits for our customers.
Thanks, Jim. So I think that Pablo would like to share about Willie, perhaps. We're getting kind of close. We're in our last 9 minutes of the meeting. So
yeah, I'll take maybe 2 or 3 minutes of that time. I'm gonna try to be very quick. Willie's position and title for the rec center is facility cleaner. So he's pretty much just sweeping, mopping, vacuuming the mats, cleaning windows, cleaning bathrooms, like such as toilets, wiping the sinks, stuff like that. He's doing very well, actually. He's very slow paced moving right now, but they're very accommodating, and they're letting us split up the tasks in 2 days. So he works Friday mornings and Saturday mornings. And they're making a checklist to prioritize certain areas that need cleaned more than others. So if we don't get something done one day, we can prioritize it the next day, et cetera, et cetera. But he seems very happy, as you saw, as a lot of you saw in the picture. He's excited about making a paycheck and being around people, as they come in to play basketball or have little parties there. But other than that, he's doing really good. He's learned where they keep the keys. They keep the keys in the cash register. And the second day I had him tell me where everything was that he needed to get and the steps. Okay, you got the keys. Now where do we go? What do we need? And we went back to the storage room where they keep the cleaning cart with a whole bunch of supplies. And he went and grabbed that and filled the mop bucket with water, et cetera, and and the floor cleaner, obviously. But yeah.
Awesome.
So he's only in 2 days and he's already picking it up very fast. So he's gonna do great.
Yeah. Thanks, Brandy.
Hi, Pablo. This is Arthur. I just had a question. Was that part of the choice to choose Friday and Saturday, or only 2 days? Was that part of your method, or?
So Willie wanted to work about 2 days a week, and the hours were kind of where he wanted to be. He wanted to work 3 hours a day. So 2, there might be some growth or whatever. We don't know yet, because they did say that throughout the week we can see if while there's people there. If he can just tidy up as people leave or whatever, wipe tables and pick up garbage. But as far as, yeah, because they hired somebody else for the other days of the week. So those were the days they offered. I asked Willie if he would be willing to work those days. He said yes. And he goes on home visits a lot on the weekend, so they actually did accommodate for that. I let them know before we told them that, you know, we were going to accept the position. I let them know that he did go on home visits a lot on the weekends, and they said that that was fine to just let him know ahead of time. And so I talked to his family, talked to his mom and dad, and they said that that's fine. We'll let you know ahead of time before, you know, a week, because they usually plan his home visits out by the month, really. They'll put it in his calendar so he knows when he's going to go on a home visit, etc. But for now, I think he's happy with the 2 days and the hours that he has.
That's great. Thank you for sharing.
Willie also volunteers at a local thrift store doing similar tasks. And he's also does it early morning like that. So it's something that he's used to. He's always been an early bird. He's always enjoyed, even before he started this job on the weekends, he was up cleaning his house early in the morning. That's always been something that he's been really fond of doing. When there's downtime at the end of the day at the workshop, he's sweeping up and cleaning up. So it's between that and his love for sports, I think this is a perfect fit for him.
Yes, as home staff, he definitely is up early. He's an early bird riser, and he just takes out trash, starts sweeping, etc. Just takes, you know, vacuums. But we try to have him not wake everybody else up with the vacuum.
That's funny. All right, thank you guys for sharing. Before we close out, I did want to see if anybody had any questions about the technical assistance circular, if you found it was helpful, if you need other things clarified. I'm taking topics for March. Any other questions, concerns, any advice you might have for your peers on the call if you heard people talking about something that triggered an idea for you? Any general comments?
I have a quick question.
Yes, Mark.
This is Mark from CTF Illinois. So with doors and the doors having the doors contract and a placement either in milestones or SCP, there's a minimum amount of hours that need to be worked per week in order to qualify for, you know, in order to be able to be reimbursed through doors. With the grant, does that still apply, or how are we navigating that?
You're asking me a hard question, Mark. Can I go back and research that and send an answer to the group? I don't want to speak incorrectly. I know that whenever I was working with students in school, the ideal amount of time was 10 hours per week. I don't know that we have anything that specifies in our administrative rule. That doesn't mean that we don't have something listed in our contract that I don't know about. So I do want to do a little bit of research on that. I see Susan has her hand raised. She might be able to help me.
Yes, I can speak to that. We do not have a specific number of hours listed anywhere. We need to individualize that based on the person, and what their wants are and what they want from their job.
Did that answer your question, Mark?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. Any other questions that we have? All right, everybody. Well, Jim, do you have anything, final closing comments?
No, this is Jim. No, I don't. I just appreciate everybody's time. I hope they found this valuable. I hope they're taking away what you take away with you some information. I hope you're smarter at 3:30 than you were at 2:00. And we look forward to working with everybody here between now and the next COP. So thanks a lot.
All right, thank you, everyone. We'll go ahead and close out. I will send a follow-up email with materials from today, the recording from today. Nikki said I could share her intake packet. We have some other, I would love to see anything else you all talked about so that we can share with our friends here on the call. So thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next time.